Citing diplomatic sources, Russian daily Izvestia said that controversial Libyan General Khalifa Haftar has asked Moscow to lift arms embargo and start supplying weapons to Libya. General Haftar has forces loyal to the internationally recognized Council of Deputies in Libya. Now, the newspaper has reported the Libyan faction has appealed for small arms, jets and other equipment to fight ISIL militants near Sirte in the northern part of the country. The Daily also claims Russia has been asked to set up anti-Islamist military operation in Libya, similar to the one it launched a year ago in Syria. General Haftar reportedly addressed the request to Russian authorities via his special representative Abdelbaset Badri, who visited Moscow on Tuesday. He reportedly held talks with the Russian president's special envoy on Middle East, Mikhail Bogdanov. But Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said he could neither confirm nor deny these reports. He added that the Kremlin was not aware of such requests and did not know through which channels they could have been submitted. Moscow joined the UN-brokered arms embargo on Libya in 2011 when the country was on the verge of a civil war that led to the ousting of the longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi. Daria Bondarchuk, CCTV, Moscow.
And for more on that, let's cross to our UN correspondent Liling Tan in New York. Liling, what's the position of the UN with regards to the arms embargo imposed on Libya, and how is it being enforced?
Well, yes. Now, the UN Security Council first imposed the arms embargo on Libya following civil unrest after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi back in 2011. Now, that arms embargo still stands, although it's been modified, but it is in effect. And the whole point of that was to prevent the continued illegal transfer of arms into the country, weapons that the Security Council feared were ending up in the wrong hands. And by wrong hands, it refers to the Islamic State group, ISIL, that has used the chaos and grown in that chaos, and also to armed groups that are against the internationally recognized government. Now, that arms embargo was expanded over the summer of this year when the European Union and the Security Council imposed a resolution that called on countries operating in the Mediterranean Sea to stop vessels they believe were trafficking in weapons to Libya, to seize those vessels and then dispose of those vessels. Now, that operation has had a measure of success, managed to save lives, apprehend smugglers, and also neutralize some of these smuggling vessels. Now, this latest report, though, that General Haftar is asking Moscow to send weapons over and to also lift the arms embargo, if confirmed, this is a concern for the Security Council because Russia is a permanent member of the Security Council, and as a permanent member, especially as a permanent member, it cannot defy the Security Council in theory. However, in practice, maybe. There are some experts who believe that Russia has been supplying arms to the Tobruk government in Libya. It has been providing military advice and liquidity. So this complicates this request, if confirmed, does complicate matters here at the Security Council over how to limit the continued transfer of weapons, of illegal weapons, into Libya.
And Liling, the UN envoy for Libya has just addressed the UN Human Rights Council and issued some grave warnings about worsening conditions on the ground. What can you tell us about this?
Yes, absolutely. Now, the special envoy for Libya and also head of the Libyan mission, the UN mission in Libya, Martin Kobler, did address the Human Rights Council, and he warned them that the situation could further deteriorate as the country now faces this political impasse, which is, of course, the GNA, the Government of National Accord, brokered by the UN. It continues to face resistance from opposing governments. And also there is a concern of recent developments on the military end that Martin Kobler described as hazardous and dangerous. And of course, he was referring to General Haftar's seizure of those key oil ports in Libya. General Haftar does have some considerable measure of support down on the ground, and that has been a major problem for Martin Kobler, who has been trying to get Haftar to the table to negotiate some form of a transitional government in which he could play some role. Now, there is also fighting that has continued to impact civilian lives. And Martin Kobler did apprise the Human Rights Council about the latest developments, more deaths. Between March and August, there were, and I'm looking at his latest numbers, there were 287, nearly 300 civilian casualties, 141 deaths, and among the victims were 30 children who were killed. Now, he also talked about how the economy has been hit with the bulk of funding going towards subsidies for armed groups, including armed groups that are opposed to the international recognized government. So he called on the UN Human Rights Council to address these issues, but also the reports of increasing and intensifying human rights abuse on Libyan civilians.
All right. Liling Tan in New York live for us. Many thanks, Liling.